be... Okay, so what is...
on today's episode of Trina Can't English.
Fuck off!
We're gonna be too legit to quit.
Yeah.
Johnny Chronic. Looks like someone smoked over your grave. Welcome to Always Room for More. I'm your host, Chris Moore. With me always, the beautiful Katrina Penny.
Hello.
And our best friends, Ryan and Spinny.
Hi there, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Spinny.
I'm not gonna lie, I was just close to fucking that up.
Yeah, I heard you trying to get through the chuckles.
So hard not to laugh at myself.
Spinny got in your head.
A little bit.
Yeah. I love how each episode starts with laughter, because there's no just to get you all in on how we do it. We don't all right, 3, 2. Well, we don't do that. I just press spacebar. And then he realizes, and then whatever we were talking about, he just segues right into, anyways, always room for more. Always room for more. And then that's how I start the podcast. So he's always laughing still, because no, we're all caught off guard.
That and we're stoned.
That too.
But yeah, pull back the curtain of our show some more. We record these a little week ahead, I think, aren't we?
We're 2 weeks ahead now, and I think that's probably as far back as we're going to push it.
Probably.
Just to kind of stay as current as we possibly can with still giving ourselves enough time to
breathe,
edit and do a good job.
Exactly. And have time to relax and breathe, like you said.
Edit, review, and then second edit kind of thing. Whereas, doing it same week is hard to get all that done.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we don't really have a topic in mind today, I don't think. We're just shooting the shit.
Well, basically, we're at 11 episodes. We're just talking about things that either find our attention, or we might have something that is happening right now in the news that's somewhat not too crazily, dated, so we're not, far back dated. Because we are, like I said, recording these a little ahead of time to keep us ahead of the game kind of thing.
Yeah, but I find shit 4 weeks late anyway, so it doesn't matter if the person who tells me about it found out about it 2 weeks late, and it seems like that. I'm always late to the game on every news.
Same.
Oh wait, what happened last May?
Yeah.
When was that? A year ago? Crazy.
a good 80% of the time I'm out of the loop. There's a very small percentage of things that I pay attention to that catch my interest, that I'm like, this is worth my time. This is worth me remembering. Mm-hmm. Other than that, everything else is just fodder. It's in and out.
News-wise,
it's just whatever. Okay. Some things I try and pay attention to local news because, especially, in our city, because there's a lot of stuff going on lately, crime-wise.
Fucking shit.
So
just being wary of that.
Yeah. So I was just like, what's going on? Every time I see a post, I'm like, click. But that's other than that, I don't really stay current with many things. You guys are my update.
As much as news you get.
I'm kind of a news addict, so I stay up to date with quite a bit.
Yeah, you're honestly always coming with different articles and stuff like that, and I'm just like, oh, really? Is that happening? I was not aware.
For instance, I read an article the other day that scientists are finding, what's the best way to describe it? I described it earlier. They're finding fragments of a past universe, so finding evidence of a universe from the past.
Before the Big Bang.
It's
so
got gamma rays and evidence.
So evidence for the Big Bounce theory?
Wait, what?
Okay, so it's when the universe ends, it'll become a new black hole, and then everything will suck up into a black hole and then spurt out again, explode again, and make a new Big Bang, and make a new universe.
Oh. Alrighty then.
I did see a little bit about that, but I didn't look at it in a news article. I'm more just there's a science vlog, I guess it would be, with a V, video log, that I follow that told me about something about new physics that was possibly being not necessarily discovered, because it's got to go through rigorous scientific testing and scrutiny, but on the table at least.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See, again, I'm very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Not interested in physics.
I wouldn't say not interested,
yeah.
you know, because, like, certain things that you talk about are very interesting. It's just, they're so mind-breaking that I have a hard time following.
They need so much subtext.
Yeah.
Like, laid out beforehand so that you understand. And it's like, it's the same thing with me. Like, I kind of forget that I haven't explained the part 1 to 3, and I'm just on part 4, and I just go for it. And they're like, wait, what happened?
I mean, we appreciate your enthusiasm, but a little backtracking's always is always appreciated as
I
well.
went back all the way to the beginning of the universe.
Did.
That's how far back it goes, and maybe further. Is what he's saying.
Well, we don't know.
It might.
Like
it might.
We
So there
thought
could be-
time just started at the Big Bang, but what he was saying and what they're thinking they might have found some fragments of or
It's
evidence.
the gamma ray evidence from like the deep space. It seems to show they have evidence of other black holes that have been there before. It kind of leaves like a burn mark in the space of time.
Yeah.
So like you can see where the black holes are, but you can also see where the black holes have been, which kind of throws them off.
I really like that sentence, a burn mark in space and time. That's fucking sick.
That sounds like a good metal lyric.
It does. It's almost like a stain. You know what I mean? Like,
Right?
That's dope.
it is pretty
Like,
cool
what
to think about.
enemy
It's-
is that?
that imagery. It really put it there for me. Yeah.
That is cool.
And like the evidence of the black
Yeah.
hole, he was just like a burn mark on space time.
Yeah. Like a fingerprint.
Right. And then there's another question, whether or not this is a simulation.
Oh, don't get me going. Simulation
Let's
theory.
not do this.
Here we go.
Okay, well let's just play. Let's just ask the question. Fine. Does anyone here think we live in a simulation?
No.
That what we live in is ones and zeros. It's a simulation. That there's a higher reality. Like.
What if?
I have no
I believe
proof
in
of it,
flesh
so-
and blood. I bleed. You know, I'm. You know, nah. I don't know. It's a little far fetched for my ideal.
Does it continually get larger? Like, are we the microscopic beings that some other larger beings are looking down at
Yeah. Well, that's
as like ants?
That's
I used
the
to think
thing.
that when I was a kid. Like when I was a kid, I used to think that we were a storybook that was being read by, like, I mean, I was brought up religious, right? So, I was brought up to believe in God when I was little. So, yeah, in my head, I'm like, okay, so like he's like reading a storybook,
Okay.
and we're
the characters.
the characters, right? And I'm as I got older, I'm like, well, why am I the focus of this, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
You know, like I was like really little when you're
Yeah.
trying to get that.
That is a really cool perspective.
I used to blow my own mind when I would like try and figure out, like, when you're kind of figuring out
the world.
the world for the first time, right? I vividly remember sitting there and contemplating space and going, what is that?
Yeah.
And why is that? And what are we? And that, like, too young to be having those questions, right? And I'm just breaking my own brain, sitting in my room, staring at the ceiling, going, are we nothing? Yeah. Are we a storybook being read to something? And then I also used to think, in a way, that I used to think that television were just, like, was just constantly, like, if you stopped it kind of thing, it stopped sort of deal. Like, you had control over...
It wasn't just going to keep going when you turn the TV off. Like, when you turn the TV off, it paused for you.
Yeah, it's sort of like that ideal, but, like, I didn't get the concept of TV.
Yeah.
Like, TV was,
You're
like...
probably 4.
Yeah, it was, like, kind of Willy Wonka-esque,
Yeah.
you know? Like,
Everything's magical and weird.
Yeah, it was just like, what is this? And you're, like, just figuring out the world for the first time. Well, that and space broke my brain.
I got a question. Is space a thing? Like a physical thing, like this tape or my pisser or this pop I'm going to have a sip of.
I'm going to say yes. Yes, I strongly believe yes. If we finally discover it and find it out for sure, I think dark matter or antimatter is actually going to play a major role in our advancement in the 21st century.
I definitely agree, but I think dark matter's a thing in space. What about space itself? Just the fabric of space time. Is that a thing? When you describe it like the word fabric of space time, it seems like a thing, like it's a physical thing, but it's just...
That would be like asking, is our planet a thing?
But our planet is a thing. It's a rock. I'm talking about the things in between things. Is that a thing?
Well, it's space. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make sense.
It's just meant to break your brain. That's all.
It
that
is.
fucking
It's just
question is.
Trina's mind blowers.
On this episode of Trina's Mind Blowers.
Oh, I was thinking of another one, another like segment. This on this episode of. So I read an article recently. Ryan goes every single time. I love it. I love it. He's just an article guy.
Now, dude, is it called space because it's the space in between each world and each? You know,
I definitely think that
okay.
it's just like a simple name given to scientists that just describe it as simply as possible.
yeah, empty space.
Yeah.
I just had a thought. It kind of just like, well, that comes down to getting all the way back to why is it called space? And then that just reminded me of a quote from a really old movie. It's just like, well, why is a horse called a horse? Well, that's like asking why a shoe's called a shoe, you know? It's just... I can't. I'm pretty sure it's from a Shirley Temple movie, and I make myself laugh.
I'm gonna smoke weed about that.
Yeah. That sounds good to me. My opinion on space being a thing, to sum that up, would be I don't think it's any more or less a thing if I was to compare it to, say, hydrogen or helium gas. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay, now, is a thing classified as something that you can physically grasp? What are we classifying as a thing? What is a thing?
I believe it
Is
has
it
to
an
have mass.
Okay, now, I'm kind of stoned here. We're going back to school. A noun, an adjective,
Adverb, pronoun.
all that jazz. Now, person, place, or thing is a noun.
Yes.
Okay, so a thing would be like a noun. Okay.
A noun.
Okay. So the thing has to be okay. So what is
On today's episode of Trina Can't English,
I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to say. What is the definition of a noun? It's a person, place, or thing.
Yes, yeah, you nailed it.
Just put the
And that's the first time in your second guessing yourself.
Okay, but then what's defining those things that makes it a thing? Like, I don't get it. Like, okay, what makes a thing a thing? Like, now you fucked me up, and I can't. I'm sorry. You fucked me up, and now I want to know.
I think Ryan has an
it
opinion on that.
has to take up space and have mass. So it has to weigh a certain amount.
Does it?
And it has to take up space.
Okay, so then space could not take up a space.
Unless it is actually antimatter.
What about light? Is light
What
a
the
thing?
fuck is antimatter?
For every property and chemical that we have discovered, the exact form in the opposite but reverse polarity with electrons and neutrons and protons exists, but in the negative version.
And if they touch, they explode.
Like, I would reference Stranger Things. I'm still going to, but you haven't seen it. And yet there's the upside down that they get stuck in where everything's flipped the opposite way. There's a negative helium and like antimatter. So like maybe what is actually in space is just something, some element we haven't discovered. And it could be a key.
She was asking what is a thing, and you said it's something that has mass. Is light a thing? Light doesn't have mass.
I would say, isn't
But it
like
doesn't take up
gas?
space.
Does it? Doesn't it? The wavelengths of it take up space? And they could be, like, manipulated by space and, like...
Well, isn't vapor a thing? Does vapor have mass?
Speaking of
Okay,
vapor.
so so would a thing be classified as something you can physically touch and feel and grab and hold?
Maybe. That could be a definition of it.
Okay, because if that's the case, then no, space is not a thing. The things in space are things.
But,
That was well worded.
yeah, that made sense.
So
Yeah.
then space would still be a noun, though, because it's a place.
Okay, but it wouldn't be a thing. It'd be 1/3. It would still be a noun. Space is a noun because it's a place. Mm-hmm. It's everywhere, but that's still a place. It's all the places. But yeah,
Now,
I need to talk.
back to my first thing, though. Do we call it space because of empty spaces? Or do we call empty spaces space because of space?
I think we call space because of empty spaces.
Okay.
I have a feeling like that came first, and they're like, well, that's also like that, but up there.
It was
like,
a story. It was a story.
That's a
thought.
big empty space.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it's just getting
Whoa,
it for
Fred.
people to get it for the first time, making it
Oh, it's not so
understandable.
empty.
What did you call that? Space?
I
Perfect.
almost,
Why is the shoe called a shoe?
Oh, there's
I almost want to argue against that.
Of course.
Have you
Why wouldn't you?
have you
Because
seen the meme?
originally, everybody thought that the world was flat. So, like, they would have just thought that that was like a ceiling, like a dome ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they wouldn't have thought that that was space. Maybe that wasn't their first definition of it.
So empty spaces like underneath a desk or something where it's empty. That came space first.
Yeah, maybe.
Man, I got really meta. like just this whole conversation, I'm just staring out at space. We keep doing this. We're gonna end up being a space podcast.
Oh fuck! This is gonna be
It's sure Trina's like, please don't.
always room for more cosmos.
That sounds like a drinking podcast.
That's true. We're not. Well, Speedy likes to have a beer here and there. I don't mind having a shot every now and then. Didn't have one tonight. Sorry, Ryan.
That's all right.
Let you down.
I enjoy my tokes.
I'm not a drinker.
Much more.
Same.
I'll stick to my green.
I have a
Speaking
couple
of which,
beers, but other than that, like
Yeah.
I don't like getting fucking plastered, white girl wasted anymore.
yeah, not like in your early 20s.
No.
We're approaching the late.
Early 20s. Fuck, I was doing that when I was 16.
Well,
Not really, actually.
Yeah, they already
18
know.
on.
My parents didn't know. They know now if they're listening. Well, I think my dad knew and my mom knew. They knew.
They
but
both knew because they probably did it too. Because it's
Well,
like
yeah.
it's what kids do. They just do
They
stupid.
just
kid
knew
shit.
I was smart enough not to do stupid shit like get into a car with someone drinking
To
or
get caught.
other-
My first
caught. Yeah, sure.
my first bottle of alcohol purchased illegally was helped get through acquaintance of Chris.
Yeah. I think that's true.
tisk tisk.
The first time I bought alcohol from an LCBO, didn't even get carded. I was like, the fuck?
Right after
I could have done it the whole time.
The whole time.
Yep.
The whole time. And I'm like, you're not even gonna card me? It's my fucking birthday. Like this is the first day I'm allowed to do it. And so you're asking like I'm like 30. Like what?
It's always so disappointing when that happens. Man, but I was getting mistaken for like 20 something when I was like 16, which I don't really think is a compliment, but whatever.
That's true. Like when they ask me for ID now, I'm like, I'll take that as a compliment. There is my ID.
Yeah.
What, you don't think I'm old enough to get liquor? Great. I'll take that compliment. Thank you very
I love
much.
how, like, they ask for ID, but like the photo doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
literally just hand him a piece of paper with a date on it. Like, it would not, man.
like-
It's the same thing. Like, here's my birthday.
For guys, like, what happens when you get the ID pre-beard as opposed to post-beard? Like, I mean, I show them the ID and it's like this clean-shaven motherfucker. Now I walk in post-pandemic and it's like full beard and it's like, I mean,
Yeah, I had the same
there's
thing.
a bit of a
I
difference.
had no beard and hair when I got my ID taken, and then eventually, well, now I look like me. With a bit no hair, lots of beard, and it's gonna stay like that for forever.
See, I recently had mine redone, so mine does look like me, but I have curly
beard?
hair. Fuck off. I have curly hair, right? But if I straighten it, I mean, it doesn't change my face at least, but it does kind of change my appearance quite a bit. So, like, I kind of take into note that it's, like, kind of looks different. But I've
That's
never
true.
had it cause a problem. But I wear my hair curly most of the time nowadays anyway. So,
I guess that could be very similar to females. Just kind of like a change of hairstyle. No different. I guess it's just got to be a little tricky for people to read as, security guards or
well,
whatever.
I've also lost like 100 pounds since my last ID. So
Yeah, I've been asked for a second piece of ID when they're like, "What the fuck is this first picture?" Like, second one's even worse, bro. Like, I showed you the better. I thought I showed you the worst one first. Like, no, like,
yeah, like when I look at my other ID, I'm like, holy crap, that is a different person, for sure.
I recently had to go do something that they needed my ID. Well, over the phone, it told me to bring a picture ID to make sure that it's me when I come by. And it was some important paperwork I had to pick up. And I get there, all I said was, "Yeah, I'm here to pick up my paperwork. I'm Chris Moore." And the guy was like, looks over, he's like, "Oh, come on over." Right, so I do all the work and everything like that, and I grab my paperwork and I leave. And I was like, thinking about it. He never once asked me for my ID. For all he fucking knows, he just gave my paperwork to some person that he thinks is Chris Moore.
yeah, no kidding.
It instills a vote of confidence, doesn't it?
Right? I'm just like, oh, I'm trustworthy looking, I guess.
Oh, something I want to bring up. So, probably by the time this comes out, we'll have already put up this wonderful new addition to the podcast room that we got. But at the time of recording, they're not up.
No.
But we have one up.
Yeah,
And
one
it's
single
testing
one.
the waters.
Yeah.
It's where we're putting it through its paces. We're hotboxing it. And it is a foam panel for soundproofing. 1 foot by 1 foot soundproofing. And we're going to make our room look like, one of those like stereotypical lame studios.
Let's say we're going legit.
Yeah, legit. Yeah.
It's gonna be dope.
We're gonna be too legit to quit.
Yeah.
Did you say too legit to quack?
To quit.
To quit.
With an E.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got it up and it's testing there. We should name him. We should name that guy, that little guy.
I'm gonna go.
Well, it's the first one up, and I hope he stays up. The first one didn't, but this is his chance. What are you gonna name him? Quet? What's his name now.
Don't quit. Don't quit on us now.
Don't quit on us now. Quet.
I'm gonna call him Tig. Tig. Because he's tight like a tiger. He's just hanging on to that wall.
I was thinking of Diamond Dallas Page, the diamond shape.
Yeah.
Dallas.
Oh, D?
I was feeling more like a Stanley, but okay.
Stanley?
I don't know why I like naming inanimate objects little old men names.
Stay there, Stanley.
Like Harold, or Henry, like
Stan.
good God.
Oh, any votes on the name for that guy?
Square.
I like Quet.
Quet.
I'll go with that.
QWET.
Yeah, quit.
Yeah, he'll never quit on us.
No. He's up there for good.
Yeah.
We'll put a little...
Come in the morning. No!
Disgusting!
Disgusting!
Tosses him out to the curb.
Yeah.
People are probably like, wow, these guys are that fucking stoned already. They're fucking
about to get
talking
a little
about
more
a
stoned.
fucking little...
I said that I was going to take a toke like 20 minutes ago. It hasn't even been 20 minutes of the podcast, so it's fine.
Did you
think
take
this
that
bowl
toke?
got me pretty stoned.
No, I haven't.
Oh, well. Shit.
I'm gonna
Oh,
take it
smoke
now.
weed on that, huh?
Yeah, I'm smoking weed about that.
Sounds good.
You were saying how younger you had these, thoughts about TV and all that stuff and all these good kid thoughts.
Yeah, like how the world worked and stuff.
Exactly. I remember a thought that I used to have, and a friend of mine even shared almost pretty much the same thought, was that alien ships were disguising themselves as big clouds. And they would come in and they would just sit above the world in these clouds and just monitor us and basically watch us like we're a zoo.
Holy
So
shit.
basically-
I had the same thoughts as a kid.
Right?
And clouds freaked me out.
Exactly. So it's like,
Are you me? Am I you?
so like when you see like clouds and like their shape like a head or a dragon, ice cream cone, whatever you see, it's just like the spaceship basically disguising itself as something different.
Yeah.
Just to test our test our brains, test our things like
Pattern
that.
recognition and stuff like that,
shit
yeah.
And I thought I was fucking crazy.
I was a little imaginative kid.
Clouds are weird. They're so
Well,
big. How can you fathom what they are as a small child?
Exactly.
That's
fair.
the thing. So, like, you look up in the sky and you see, like, human airplanes and, like, man, that's huge, but it just looks tiny in the sky.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you look at a giant cloud,
Like a cumulus.
and, like, you just kind of wonder to yourself, like, if you were gonna see, like, an alien spaceship that was, like, massive, like you see on the sci-fi movies, how big would it actually take up in the sky? Like, would that cloud be like an alien spaceship? Is that how big it would look to me? Like, it's daunting.
Yeah.
See, it's interesting because clouds never, like, that was one thing I never questioned as a kid was, how are those there? Like, it just kind of always seemed a lot, like, normal.
Little
I get,
puffs.
like, it just didn't, like, that wasn't something I questioned. It was what I couldn't see that I questioned, or what I couldn't really I don't know, like, I just kind of understood that those were in the sky and they were there constantly.
Exactly.
Like, it just didn't bother me.
Well, it wasn't until like science class you learned how clouds are made and
Yeah.
stuff like that you go, oh, that isn't.
I was busy breaking my brain with other interesting things, like...
Yeah, like learning Photoshop at 9 and shit.
Literally, though. Yeah, that was my... Like, as soon as I was able to turn on a computer, I was
Doing Photoshop.
doing... Pretty much.
See, you're doing Photoshop. I was fighting demons and goblins and
I
trolls.
think that's what
and
set me back in
bad
my
guys
gaming.
and villains.
Is,
I'm not talking about game. I'm talking about my own little head ventures outside. It's still.
Oh, yeah, with like a stick.
with a stick,
That's a
with Excalibur.
My sword.
Hey now. I used to go online a lot, yes. But I was very imaginative as well. Like, there were, like, I always went outside and pretended I was a forest nymph, and I would, like, find sticks and pretend I was a witch and stuff like that, and, like, I would have wands and all of that jazz. It's like I knew. No, but it's, like, it's just, like, always been that, like, I always made up something around me. Like, I always played kitchen, and I always was talking to myself, and, like, I mean, these were more, like...
I remember, like, we would
That's
do
good.
battles, like, we would get all, like, a bunch of the whole group of kids in the whole complex together and run around with, like, either toy guns or toy swords and run around, like, trying to fight each other and stuff like that.
Like Hunger Games style.
Yeah,
almost.
this is crazy shit. I always thought it'd be great if I could, like, record this, like, kind of like a movie and do it, like, for me and my friends are playing, like, these badass, like, guys when not fighting all these other people. And at the end, it comes into, like, one of us against each other and shit like that and all this crazy shit. And, so good times.
Well, see, when I was doing the kind of crazy witchy stuff, where I was like pretending like I was like making little forts in like bushes and like literally there was this like clearing in one, like we had parks behind. So like, okay, this is gonna be more detail than I need to give, but behind our in our complex, there's like groups of 3, and each group of 3 had a park in the back. Okay. So like these like circle. Anyway, so I had a park behind my house, and there was bushes there, and one had like the perfect clearing, like just in the center of it, but it was like completely like surrounding you otherwise. So like I could like as a small kid go in and hide in this bush, right? And I had like a little rock, and I had like flowers that I had picked and stuff like that. Had like a little fort. And I would just like make potions and stuff in there and stuff like that. Right? So, but I always did that by myself because I didn't have a friend that was not like Jess was not into that kind of stuff, right? Like she was more sci-fi than fantasy. So like I didn't really share that with her. So it was very much me just kind of like playing by myself and like making up scenarios in my head. So and being an only child, I didn't have other kids to play with very often. So I had to kind of entertain myself when I was really little.
Yeah, I just played with my little brother.
When I was with my mom, that's when I mainly did all this stuff with like other kids in the complex because I lived in like a apartment building with complex with other kids. But when I would spend time at my dad's house and later on move in with my dad, it was usually just me in my room playing video games and stuff like that, or hanging out with my dad in the living room and stuff like that. We didn't have much friends in that time. Like I did have friends, but mainly at school and stuff like that. It wasn't until later I hang out with Ryan more and stuff like that, and go to his place and play video games and chill out.
I wasn't around other kids my age until I was about 7.
Yeah.
Like other kids my age just like weren't in my area, like, or I lived in an apartment building that was mainly seniors. Like there just wasn't a lot of kids around to hang out with. Yeah. So again, you know, you just have to learn how to get imaginative and figure things out for yourself.
I think,
or your mom kept you sheltered from the kids that she didn't want. Like
there's
a reason you weren't around the kids your age.
I have to say, my grandmother.
Those kids are bad kids.
My grandmother was a godsend in many ways because she definitely nurtured that imaginative.
Have you ever thought that you were the bad kid? Those kids are bad kids. Wait, that's me.
At one point, I was considered the bad influence, and it was funny because turns out they were the bad influence that I was hanging around with.
Yeah. I think my dad thought one of my friends was a bad influence.
But it was the other way around.
It kind of was. Like, he didn't even smoke weed. I was smoking weed.
Yeah, you just got him smoking weed. It was like my brother, yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of shit like that. They didn't know I smoked weed. They thought they got me smoking weed, but no, I got a lot of my friends smoking weed and stuff. But on that note, explain the strain?
Yeah, do it up.
Well, today's Explain the Strain. I got a company called Johnny Chronic.
I like the name.
Yeah,
it's a good name.
For me, it sounds. I keep saying it like fucking the guy from Tombstone, fucking Doc Holliday, when he's like says Johnny Ringo. It's like Johnny Ringo. Looks like someone walked over your grave. And I say that, but I was like Johnny Chronic. Looks like someone smoked over your grave. Oh, this stuff is a nice, colorful green. I got a package right here. We're just smoking the last of it now, busting it up. It's about 19.53% THC. It's pretty strong. It's pretty decent. Like I said, it has a nice fruity flavor to it, I find. The strain is called Cherry Bomb. No? There we go.
Cherry Bomb?
I thought someone was gonna do it.
I was gonna do it, but I'm trying to burp, to be honest with you.
Like I had to count the rest of the bar, and then like
Cherry Bomb!
I had to like sing the imaginary line like of the rest of the line, and to go again.
You could have given us a death metal version of it. It was fine.
Oh, there it is. That burp has been trying to come out for like the entire podcast.
Perfect timing because he did the fucking the same time. So yes, that's what else. Oh, and I also have BC hash. It's just a small brick of like, it looks like a little piece of chocolate.
Yeah, it does. It looks like the size of a caramel square.
Exactly. That's what I thought. It was like a little caramel square, and it's fucking delicious. I'm gonna take just little tiny corners of it, busting it up, putting it on the bowl here and there, and just. makes you drift off to La La Land pretty fucking quick, though. I'll tell you that.
I'm smoking Headbanger.
Yeah.
These guys got me Headbanger. Basically, I was pretty busy, and I was just like, yo, I'm coming over in a bit, and you guys are heading there, so pick me up some, and I'll give you the money. And they're like, what do you want? I'm like, surprise me, something sativa. Keep me up. And they gave me something called Headbanger. And it's aptly named, metalhead spinny. It's by a company called Delta 9. It's got a cool little symbol on it, like a little triangle to the power of 9.
Yeah, it looks like
the Greek symbol Delta.
I was gonna say it looks like the Greek symbol Delta, and also if you played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it looks like the goddamn title screen for that game.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, it's 22%.
Oh yeah,
shit,
it's a good steering.
That sounds pretty good.
It was nice and cheap too.
Yeah, it was $22 plus tax. But again, yeah. Sorry, honey, I was gonna cut you off. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I was just gonna say bought again at Forest City Marijuana because hey, they're close and we appreciate them.
Yeah, and they got staff picks. That was one of their staff picks. It was a staff deal too. $22 or 22 point something milligrams of THC, basically.
That'd probably be a place where I would straight up just walk up there. And they'd be like, what do you want? I'm like, surprise me, sativa. Like, just the same thing I did to you and just let them do it.
Some of them would be happy to do so. They'd
be like, I'll get you some good shit.
Yeah, they do smoke. They partake, so they know what they're talking about.
If it wasn't curbside right now, they would probably totally do that.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't smoke marijuana and they sold it, they have access to sales data.
That is true.
Like, they're just watching it happen. What sells more often? They'll be like, this shit, people like this shit.
Yep.
People like this weed.
It's good weed.
I'd be hard pressed to find somebody working at a dispensary that doesn't smoke weed. I'd be shocked.
I could see it happening. It's a job.
You could not smoke it, but you could know
people could used to smoke it, but then they started giving them a bad effect, but they still liked the culture and they were a part of it. It was they smoked it a lot, but it's like,
that's fair.
Yeah.
It'd be like working at an LCBO and not drinking.
Yeah, still have dreads and burn incense and just don't smoke weed anymore.
Turn their bongs on the vases.
Yeah, exactly. They're actually vases now,
Yeah,
vases. Vases, I don't know which one's right. I say both,
Depending on the context, yeah.
Just depending on how I feel, arbitrarily.
One's past tense, right?
Right? Is it?
What? That was a vase.
No, it's not.
You could make an argument. I wouldn't hate that. Well, actually, how would you use vase or vase in a past tense? I vased that. It's not a verb. It's a noun.
You don't say vase. I vase it.
The truth of the matter is,
I vase it.
Is that one refers to when it's broken, and one refers to when it's not broken.
Actually,
so a vase is when it's not broken.
No, he's bullshitting.
And a vase is after it's broken.
Is that just a phase, though?
Oh, good God.
Oh, I'm gonna smoke weed.
Yeah, we'll smoke weed about that. I'm fucking with you guys.
I'm not even smoking weed about that.
Yeah.
I'm just.
I had you going though.
Weed.
He did.
I had you
for a
going.
minute. I was like, he is he real?
No, he's not real.
He's gotta look this up because I don't see him looking at his phone, so he doesn't know this shit off by heart.
One's more
Who
posh.
Yeah,
Who
no
the
kidding.
fuck
Ryan's got the
knows
worst
that?
memory.
What's it called when it's
colloquially?
Yeah, it's depending on area, like how the
people
language,
say things. Yeah.
So more proper language is going to be vos.
Boz.
A more chilled out kind of dialect would be vase. So a British
geographic.
A British
but I don't
accent.
think that's the word.
It's all just.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not picking up on the word. I forget the word. But I could think of another synonym for it. It'd be like geographical location.
Yeah.
Would determine how they say it.
So it's all in the phrase.
My God.
It's all in the froze.
It's the phrase. No, it's the froze.
It's all in how you froze it.
Yeah. Mom, it's not a fuzz.
Did you mean to say phrase? No. Nope.
Froze.
What
You
the
heard
fuck's
it right.
phrase?
Not what I said.
Oh, we're stupid. We're stupid.
We got some pretty good weed today. It's messing us up.
Johnny Chronic.
So for my displaying this strain today, I got the supplier called Tenzo.
Tenzo.
Yeah. I don't know. Kind of like Kenzo, but Tenzo. The strain's called Watermelon Skittles. And the percentage is 20.47.
Watermelon. Watermelon Skittles. Oh, fuck. I'm not even trying to pronounce that correctly. That sounds delicious, though.
It is pretty damn good. I did take a picture, so we will be able to upload a picture for you guys.
Yeah, just make sure you send that to me at some point. So I can put it on the Insta.
Yeah.
Well, let's smoke weed about that.
Got an extra little bit of ash on the top of my bowl on that one. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, you're welcome. That was good.
Appreciate that.
I packed some Keef on mine.
Ooh.
That was a good toke. I'm seeing black dots. You know it's a good one. You're seeing those little dots.
That's literally oxygen deprivation.
Oh.
Yep.
That might be the opposite of good. That might be a warning.
What some might call bad.
Am I dying?
Slightly problematic.
Reminds me of Ralph. I'm in danger.
It's so much fun, man. You can count the dots. 1, 2.
Does it look like stars floating around you?
No, but I've had a toke one time where it's like starbursts in your eyes afterwards. You know what that is, right?
Oh man, last night when I was trying to fall asleep, I don't know what was happening. I don't know if it was just because my last toke fucked me up, but like it literally felt like I don't know how to explain this to a podcast listener because like it's more a visual but it was like no, I guess that's the right word. Vibrating. My vision was almost vibrating, but my eyes were closed, but I was seeing vibration behind my eyelids, but like it was almost flashing in a way. It was like weird. It was like flashing black and gray.
Interesting.
Right?
Sounds like you're describing a seizure.
I see, like when I close my eyes, not so much in like light environments, but when I close my eyes and it's dark, I see flashing colors and patterns and like super complex shit that I couldn't like fathom or like write out. Like it's just like it's too.
Quite often I'll get the kind of the same
Complex.
experience, but more often that'll come when you're like laying in bed at night. Sometimes like the colors will come kind of more often than others.
Sorry.
That's all right. You just kind of lay there with your eyes closed. And
Yeah, no, it's happening.
kind
now.
of stare at your eyelids,
Yeah.
and you get these kind of
Well,
designs.
The reason that I know it wasn't a seizure or anything like that was because I was fully conscious. Like, it was literally, I would close my eyes, it would happen, I would open it, look at Chris, and be like, my eyes are doing a fucky thing.
The vibrating thing.
Yeah. And then I'd close them again and be like, why is it doing that? Stop. And then, like, open them again and, like, blink. But it was like, yeah, it was just, like, weird. It just, my eyes were doing a weird thing.
It's not a tumor. It's not.
Speaking of weird things that you do with your eyes closed, that's don't look at me like that. Have you ever like looked at the back of your eyelids for so long that you start to see like the white little pixels? That's like the ants kind of thing. Like I can literally, like like the ants on the TV. You know when it's like static.
Static.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, okay.
Well, I used to do that for so long as a kid that everything I stared at, I couldn't take away those dots. Right, unless I like stopped concentrating on it completely. But if I was like trying to fall asleep and it was totally dead quiet and I was just, doing that lull, right, I would just be staring at things and everything would have that kind of white static fuzz.
I've had that too. I've also had like grainy. My vision is grainy.
That's
like,
what, yeah, it's basically
before.
like grain. Like I can see it now, right? And like if you just focus on it, it moves. And like people, when I would try to explain it to people as a kid, I'd be like, can you see the particles of like everything? Like, do you, like, is it just me, or can you see like everything? Like, and I like the way I was describing it is so wrong, but it is like static. You know, when you look at it, it's just
like TV static, like the Big Bang.
Yeah,
like we talked
it's just weird, and that used to trip me out as a kid. Rounding back around to what we were talking about earlier, things that used to break your brain as a kid, that used to break my brain. I'd be like trying to stop looking at the pixels, and I couldn't.
Yeah, the pixels of life.
That's almost like
reality.
When I was younger. I still kind of do it now. Not so much like what I would do as a kid, but as a kid, you know how when you're under power lines, you can hear the hum? Like the...
I've never experienced that.
Yes.
No?
I can say that I've heard
You
it.
can sometimes hear it, like, and I used to think, like, man, do I have, like, super hearing?
Near
Can I
near-
hear the power
of the
surging?
world? The hum of the world.
No, like when you're near like really high voltage transformers, like
Even, like-
100,000
Yeah, I
volts,
can-
like the ones down on Highbury near
Yeah.
just past Hamilton Road.
Yeah. Those are pretty. Those are.
But I'm also talking, like, sitting underneath power lines when you're, like, walking down the street and stuff.
Or those
See-
charging blocks for phone cables. Some of them squeal.
That
Like, have you ever heard that?
indicates-
No.
Have you ever heard that?
No.
Like the charging ports for like my phone. It like squeals like a high pitch.
Well, you see, that's indicating that, you know, you can hear a certain frequency range, right? I don't think I can, except for the one time I got my ears cleaned out and I had like supersonic hearing. It was like grade 6. Legit, I had like bubbles in my, you know, like when you get that buildup, right? And
Yeah.
you feel like you have bubbles in your ears. That literally happened in both my ears for a week. And it would not, to the point where I could not hear my teachers talking to me. Anybody that spoke to me had to yell. And I was speaking at a whisper because I couldn't hear myself properly.
Yeah.
So I had to go to the doctor and get them flushed, right? I came out of that doctor's office. I'm like, is this what the world sounds like? Like,
Like for real.
you know, and I go back to that moment.
The juxtaposition of like not hearing to hearing is just
Yeah.
like.
And I go back to that moment very frequently. And I just, because I know how bad my hearing is now. And I'm like, that was a beautiful moment. I couldn't even listen to my music full blast because I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane. I could hear everything. Like, everything had a slight hum because everything was so loud. It was just like insane.
I hated that I was a dumb idiot teenager and listened to my music full blast.
Same.
I hate it.
Your parents
Such
warn ya.
No, they didn't.
Mine did.
Mine did not. Like, Mom. Come on, like I was doing it. You heard the music. If you heard the music?
All I ever heard was, Trina, you need to turn that down. You're gonna wreck your hearing. And then after the point where they realized I didn't care about my hearing, it was, Trina, we can hear it. We don't want to.
That's a
Right.
little better. You're like, fine.
Like, guess at the complaint.
One notch. 2 then. Max.
And then you slowly just sneak it up. Trina, I can hear it again. Oh,
Yeah, I didn't get
back
it.
of the car, yeah.
Like, I listened to a lot of heavier music and stuff like that in high school. I don't think I got into things like podcasts until later on in life, like after high school and stuff like that. So I stopped kind of, like, I still listen to music here and there, but I've noticed that probably in the past 10 years, I haven't listened to music as much as I used to. I listen to podcasts way more. Like, I'll sit down and I'll play video games. I'll throw on a podcast and just have that playing in the background as I play video games. Or,
Yeah.
you know, I'll sit there and put on a podcast while I clean or do dishes or whatever.
I mainly listen to podcasts when I'm with you. That's just because that's how we fill the silence when, you know, like he's gaming and I'm doing art kind of thing. I don't want to listen to his game, but I don't want dead silence either, right? So we'll put a podcast on because,
Something you both
you
like.
know, yeah, because
have
like
medium.
we have similar tastes in music, but they do after a while start to branch out, and he goes one way and I go the other, and you know, it's just something that we can continuously agree on. That it's like, this is good, this is fine.
Yeah, see, I listen to a lot more music than podcasts.
On my own, yeah, I'll listen to music more.
Like, yeah, I feel bad for it because like fuck Spotify and they pay artists pennies and like they're just fucking. It's just a whole big fucked up market that there's no regulations for, and they can just take everything But at the same time, yeah, I pay for that shit. Yeah, like I got Spotify. Like I need
Exactly,
like,
right?
I need
That's
it.
a music lovers tool.
Like Paradox. Like
They do podcasts and everything too.
yeah,
right?
but I can find so much. Like if I want to find something, I can just look it up.
I use Apple Podcasts, but that's just because I'm like both. I have Mac and Apple phone. Right, it just all syncs together nicely. I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
If I didn't have Apple, I probably would have Spotify. I used to share Spotify with my friend.
Fair enough.
See, that's
I'll
why-
call Spotify out right now. They don't have a friend like me from Robin Williams.
Well, probably they do, or
Licensing
have to probably
issues.
look it up somehow. But I know, like, what I like about Spotify more than Apple is that Apple Music and Apple Podcasts are two separate things. You need two different fucking apps. Whereas Spotify, you can have podcasts and music all in one
Same
app.
It's just a different section of the same
Yeah,
app.
basically.
Except if you're me and have all of our MP3s downloaded onto your computer, and then they just end up in your iTunes, which ends up mixed in with your music. So I'm listening to the jam, and then all of a sudden I just go dun 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 dun. I'm like, oh, this is happening. I'm gonna just listen to myself talk.
Yeah.
What song is this coming on? Oh,
And I know
That sounds
immediately.
familiar.
There's no question. As soon as I hear that first note, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
podcast.
Exactly. We're so ingrained to it now. We've listened to it for so much.
Yeah.
It's just a trick of, if I'm not looking at it, what one it is based on the ad libs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is always fun. It's like, ooh, which one is it?
Sooner or later, it's going to be hard to do that, though.
What's
So
that?
many. Sooner or later, that's going to be hard to do that with
It's gotten hard to
Yeah.
do that. Like I don't think I've nailed every single one, but I think everyone I've tried my best.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? It's like I set up a large
you know what?
expectation for myself on these intros.
Well, we're gonna have to make that a game for ourselves. One episode,
What?
maybe.
Guess which...
Guess which episodes.
What,
Based on the
that's-
ad libs alone.
That doesn't make it a really exciting game.
No, that'd be
somebody
fun.
else makes some games.
It could work, because we can play our own clips, because we own it.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get in trouble if we put in clips or we play, like, on our own
Yeah, and
phone.
it's just a guessing game. It's like, what episode is this?
Yeah, what episode is that?
Oh, what's the name of this one? That's 16-bit and lit. Yeah.
Was it 16-bit and lit, or did we mention on the podcast that it was supposed to be 8-bit and lit?
No, that was the first one.
First one was 8-bit and lit.
And then you jump up
Oh,
to
and then we
SNES.
did an episode 2.
Yeah, Super Mario
Exactly.
World. 16-bit is Super Mario World.
Now you're catching on. You're a little slow to the uptake, but it's fine.
And I said if we ever end up doing a third one, it'd be 32-bit.
Turtle ones are 32-bit.
Yeah, you know what the first 30, like the first 30, you know, like the 32-bit consoles, those were like the Sega Genesis.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, like the next gen up.
Sega Mega Drive and all that.
The Mega Drive.
Yeah.
To put that in
Oh yeah, because it was a
perspective,
16-bit console as well, and then they added the extra Mega Drive to make it a 32-bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's amazing. I love
Like I said,
Video
I-
Game Part 3.
I'm not 100% sure what happened after. I think 64, yeah.
Yeah.
64
That's what
bit.
Nintendo
Yeah.
64 was. 64.
Well, they went to optical after
I
Science.
was going to say, wasn't it polygons or some shit?
All right, Mr.
that. Like, they went to
Science nerd.
like PS2 and PS1. Like they went to like that gen. What was
Yeah.
GameCube?
Oh, that had to be like, definitely. Like,
64 or something. Like it had to be way more than that.
Yeah,
like
for
it
sure.
had Metroid Prime on it.
No,
Those discs were
I
so
think
little,
GameCube
though.
was 64.
Cutest little disc.
we're getting back into a territory.
Oh, you know what?
What?
I think we just established a precedent. Like, I like space. Y'all like video games. He likes movies. He likes comics. She likes witchy stuff. He likes
Space.
articles.
Wow.
And, like, we're just going to keep bringing it all up. 'cause that's what we like to talk about.
You guys
like art,
describe
too.
me
Oh,
as
you love
Ross.
art. We all love music. Some people like podcasts more than music. But
No, unfortunately, I'm going to say something here that's kind of throwing the three of us under the bus because Spinny was off doing band stuff yesterday with his other band, and we watched Mortal Kombat, the new one, last night.
Correction.
Okay.
You two did, but he didn't.
No, no,
Trina
no.
did too.
didn't. She
Yes,
passed out.
2 of us did. 2 of you have not.
3v1. 2.5 v1.
I saw the first
2 and
like
a quarter.
20 minutes.
Okay.
Of it.
Okay, so 2v1, like
2
2v2.
and 10
2v2.
minutes.
You would not. You would be like. Okay,
I did
I
not
know the
make it.
characters. That's it.
The
And
reason I brought it real quickly because I just wanted to put out there, like, I liked it. I had a good time watching it. And I know there's a lot of people out there just saying like, "Oh, it's a fucking total fucking sham," and
Maybe spoilers alert. Oh,
no spoilers. I'm
No
not gonna spoil
spoilers?
anything.
Yeah,
It's just
you're-
they say it's a sham and that the first one was better. Like the 1995 movie was better, and I love that one. That's my favorite Mortal Kombat movie too. But this one was good. Like I liked watching it. I think they could definitely continue on the series of those movies, and hopefully they do. Because again, I had a good time watching it. We fucking had a good time.
I think if I hadn't just come home from work and
Got too stoned.
got too stoned and I made the mistake of laying on the bed. Yeah. I got comfy. Sadie was keeping my feet warm.
and then it's done. That's done for.
Yeah.
And I was out.
Yep. Once that dog calls into you, it's like,
I,
kryptonite.
really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good version. It paid a good
movie.
paid a good homage to the old classics.
I'd be
while
willing
being a good
to
tribute to the video games.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to sit down and watch it, but it was definitely more your type of movie. I'm not really into action too much. Like I like action movies to a point, but I like I don't know, it just wasn't catching my attention.
Right.
And I think that's why I kind of passed out as well, but I'm willing to try it again. I'm not saying no, I don't want to watch
Well,
it.
if anyone's on the fence and you haven't seen it or you want like a good recommendation, I would say if you ever seen the Mortal Kombat Rebirth thing that little short like movie clip they did, where they took the real life characters and made it like really cool, how they were actual like what they would kind of be like in the real world. They took that and then they took the 1995 movie, which again is a great movie. And they kind of just mashed them together and made almost like a love child of those two things put together. And again, it's a pretty fun movie to watch.
I will say it had me chuckling in a few parts that I did see, so I will be willing to give it another shot.
Yeah, definitely.
And I know Spinny, I'm sure, is interested in seeing
I
it.
like the Mortal Kombat universe. I like
Yeah.
how they've gone meta with it, like creation of the universe kind of thing. It's playing a lot of shit, and like time. They start doing time travel and shit. Like it got weird at a point. I think.
I don't think it's
number 11.
much
For
of a spoiler, but Kano is in it, and for what it's worth, he definitely makes the movie more
That's who I was
enjoyable.
referring to when I was saying he would give me a chuckle.
Was that a spoiler? Am I cutting that out?
Not really, no. Everyone knows Kano's in it.
Okay,
Everyone's seen the
okay. I didn't,
commercials
but yeah, it's like public
previews.
knowledge. They get people
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
actors in it, like who plays Kano. Like
Yeah,
who does play
Trailer stuff, you know.
Well, it's some guy that
Some guy.
He's not,
Australian actor.
yeah.
He's not a somebody. He's just.
I
a
think
person.
I don't know. She
He
might
looked
be
familiar,
Australian.
but I didn't recognize him.
Which means he played the character pretty well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's one of the typical Mortal Kombat characters.
Yeah.
Calm.
Now,
calm.
for those who don't know, because you said it a couple times, and I do know that we have a little bit of a older audience.
Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes, what does meta mean?
Meta.
You've said meta a couple times. I know what it
It's like-
means, but
it's
just
like-
explain.
It's like an onion. It's got layers.
Give the best basic example.
sure-
Why are we
my
all
best.
bad? Why can't it be cake? Cake's got layers.
Everybody loves cake.
Yeah, I like a
Oh,
single layer.
parfaits! Parfaits got layers.
What is meta? Meta is like a fourth wall break is kind of meta in a sense. It's like something about itself.
Yeah.
Being aware of itself.
Something that's aware of itself, and it's also become a catchphrase, like a,
Yeah.
Yeah,
like a
so
common
you're
phrase for a misconception.
when a TV show self-aware kind
that
of
can,
thing.
that can be pretty. Yeah, that can be pretty
like
meta.
The Office.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because there's a episode where Ricky Gervais and what's his name, Steve Carell meet, and Ricky Gervais is the original Office
This is true,
weirdo,
yes.
right, from the British version. So when they meet each other, it's kind of like
I think a better example of meta would be like at the end where they watch The Office.
okay, yeah,
I don't know, I mean,
because it
that's-
is a TV show being
He's
recorded.
pretty-
We're watching that, and they're watching that.
Yeah, they're watching the recordings of themselves. Yeah.
Yes.
That's pretty.
So I guess the
spot on.
last episode's not done yet. They're part of the last episode. Them watching it all together, starting from season 1, and they're watching The Office,
Yeah.
and
So
that is the definition of meta.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's referring to itself or to the convention of its genre. Self-referential.
Yeah.
and I guess it's short for meta key. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
know that. No.
Which I guess is a noun. We were talking about this earlier.
Hey,
Nouns exist. Grammar.
A function key on a keyboard that is activated by simultaneously holding down a control key.
now you're getting into computer stuff.
Yeah,
It's not relevant.
That is a sub definition related to computers.
So that's not the full
Yeah,
thing.
you
That's a
lost me
meta
there,
key on a
brother.
keyboard.
What the hell is a meta key on a keyboard?
I have no idea.
Meta key. I think that's the
It
same
was the
thing as.
definition of what you said. I just don't remember what that was, and I'm going to smoke weed.
I think that's the same thing as the any key, right?
The what?
The any key. You know, hit the any key.
Push any button.
And a key.
Any key.
Push any key to continue.
Oh.
What the
I
what
thought
the
you were
hell
ju-
is the
I
any
thought
key?
I thought you were playing on the word anarchy.
Any? What the fuck is the any key?
Yeah. The Simpsons.
Oh. I get it.
I don't see an any button. Alright, smoke weed about that.
Oh, man. You know, if they could make a movie about a property that you love that you think would make a good movie, what property would you choose?
What do you mean?
Like a setting? Like a place?
No,
Where are
like-
these place?
Like an
intellectual property?
Yes, an IP.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Sorry.
So any
So-
remake that could happen if someone could do a movie in a franchise in like a...
Would you please just restate the question?
So if you could choose any IP, so intellectual property, to make into a movie, like it could be even a movie that's already been done, just redo it. Even like for instance, Lord of the Rings, right? If you want to see Lord of the Rings redone with new set of actors doing everything over again, or would you just rather choose something else that you haven't seen done yet that you would love to see done in a movie or TV show? I guess.
Oh, okay. It's like, like video games, a book.
Yep.
Okay, like a story,
Yeah.
web comic series, like any intellectual property of a story, like anything, a song, an album, could be a movie.
Oh,
Any
I
intellectual
want
property.
a musical of My Chemical Romance, Black Parade.
Just the entire length of the album.
I want what they did with Across the Universe or anything like that.
Yeah.
I want them to take an album. I want them to take the Black Parade and make a movie out of it. They could
Maybe
do
they
it.
could make the mix two of the Sweet Revenge and then
Right? Like, they could totally take those two albums and make a movie. I mean, Gerard planned my 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge as, like, a movie trailer.
Right, exactly.
Well, kind of. I'm Not Okay is more based like a movie trailer for the video. Anyway, but point being is that you could totally take the Black Parade, and because he's made a whole storyline for that, you know, he could totally consult and direct on that and make an amazing fucking rock opera film. I would kill to see that. That'd be dope as fuck.
That would be cool.
Wouldn't it though? Like, take the story of the Black Parade and make it a movie. Oh, somebody do that. Do it. Somebody, please.
Hollywood. If you're listening, do it. Come on, you'll make
Oh,
money.
I would give anything to see
Gerard
that.
the
I would
money.
take
He'll make it.
take my money. Take my money. But you see, I feel like, okay, me being a nerd about this band, knowing what his personality is like, he doesn't like to go backwards. He doesn't like to do the same thing twice. So I don't feel like he would revisit the Black Parade at all. Because, like, for God's sakes, when they retired the album, they went on tour and then they released a secondary live album of the Black Parade titled The Black Parade is Dead.
But
So
did he not write the Umbrella Academy like years ago, and just recently started
That's-
doing this?
That's different because he never got to release it.
he didn't release it.
It never got released like that.
It was released.
He started it, yeah, but he's continued it.
Okay, I'm just
You
saying
know,
because like
it's been a continuation. It's not like he's going backwards and starting over.
true.
And
He's finishing a
basically, the
story he
TV
hadn't
show
finished
is
yet.
just a continuation it'd just be a continuation of it, so maybe he would. So who knows? Maybe one day I will see my dream come to fruition, and whoever does make that, I take my money. I will throw it at you.
Shut up and take my money.
Just seriously, 100%.
Just take it all.
Oh look, Quet's still holding up strong. You know what? I'm gonna give Quet a little tug. I'm gonna give him a little test. Is it genderless?
Genderless. Yeah, we're not going to assume it's gender
Ryan,
here.
do you have an idea?
You know what's interesting that I'd like to see done? I'd like to see something done on the size of Star Trek, like the different generations, but with the storyline of Halo.
I would just love to see a Halo movie, but that would be amazing.
A Halo movie would be awesome, but they could cover so many different stories and
So tricky with
timelines.
video game movies.
Take place in the same universe.
Yeah. And Star Trek was pretty crazy for back then with their graphics and
Well, okay, that's kind of a thing you might want to think about. They're all galactic federations, but it's at the same time, galaxies are pretty far away. They can both think they're the rulers of the universe and just haven't been to that side yet. There's no one over there as strong as us.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So Star Trek people exist and Halo people exist, and no one knows, neither of them know about each other because of the light barrier.
Well, that's
thing.
a fan fiction if I've ever heard it.
On
That'd
that
be
note,
amazing.
I'll take you down a real side question. I got a theoretical question for you. All right, I'll take you down a side note. I got a real theoretical question for you. When we start sending humans over to Mars and we say we do populate that planet, what if these two planets don't eventually get along and we have a space war between Mars and Earth?
Wars. In real life.
Real life.
Well,
Planet Wars.
Planet Wars.
Let's face it, two countries don't always get along.
What do you say, two planets, will you?
well, that's to say what's going to happen if they send people there. What if all anarchy breaks out? It's not that they can send police officers there to
The
stop
thing
them.
is, they're going to have complete sovereignty to figure out how Mars runs and how their government runs. And
Yeah.
Right?
All it takes is a couple of bad apples and be we could definitely do this
We
as
can just own this bitch.
a monarchy and a
Yeah,
monarchy.
Mars is mine.
Yeah. Toughest one here,
do?
bitches.
Take it from me?
Yeah, who wants this? Come on, cross this fucking line.
I want
You
this.
cross
Mars
this
is mine.
line, and you can have Mars. He gets a couple close to their line, just
Fight
punch
to
him
the
in
death.
face.
Last one standing owns Mars. Just one person standing.
Yeah.
I win.
Like the Battle of the Joshes. You remember that?
Yeah.
That happened. There's a video of it.
Yeah, I
Have you
heard
seen
about
it?
that. Yeah, I never heard
You
about
showed
it
it
until
to
the
me.
other day, though.
10 years from now, it'll be the King Josh the Second of Mars.
That's the thing. Is
What happened to King Josh the First? He died.
everyone's like, it was like, what the hell, Elon? You didn't think that would happen? And everyone's like, he goes, I told you all they were gonna die up there. Didn't tell you how they're gonna die up there.
Or when.
Yeah.
It could be on impact. I hope not. But he literally said that once, by the way, in an interview. He's like these people will die on Mars. Hopefully not on impact.
That cold.
He said that?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I remember him saying that. If not, then I'm wrong and whatever. It's just my opinion. But I'm pretty sure I remember him saying that.
If he
Well,
did,
that's
though,
just like
that's
sure.
the best troll.
your opinion, man.
Like on video and everything.
The reporter might have questioned him a specific way.
Yeah. No, it's like these people who you send to Mars, will they come back? No. That was the question. He's just like, no, they won't. It's a one-way trip. These people know this. They're signing up
I
anyways.
want to have faith in humanity, but I've seen a lot of bad apples.
Yeah.
People who think they're doing good, but are really just fucking it up.
I would hope that people smart enough to be fucking astronauts and go to space would be at least chill. I'd hope that would be a good society.
Did you have a IP that you wanted to see that was done, or did you already answer?
I honestly think I would say Halo.
Halo.
That
I
would
get
be
it. I get it.
amazing. Just to see how well done that could be with real CG and just amazing.
Right.
Amazing, Avatar level, but what they want the next Avatar to be, which will never probably happen. It's like dreaming of the next Meshuggah album. Or no, not the fucking Necrophagist album.
Right.
Yeah, this is not gonna happen. Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen.
Like the next Daft Punk. album?
No, never gonna happen.
You don't like Daft Punk?
Well,
They-
did
they
anybody
just split
see
it
the
up.
last video on YouTube?
What?
They split up like last month.
They split up.
Oh, I didn't know. That's news to me.
The
Okay, well, I
one-
guess it might be like a month and a half ago now, but
No, it was
Well,
last month.
spoiler alert
By the
for
time this
anybody
comes
that
out,
didn't
it'll be
watch
last
it.
month.
oh, true.
I feel like it's longer than that. It happened a while ago.
I think it was 2 months.
Was it? I thought
I
it
think
was in
so.
April.
Spoiler alert for anybody that didn't
Yeah,
see it. The
it was-
one guy walks up to his friend and he starts a time bomb on his chest and then says goodbye to him and he walks away 30 feet and blows up. And that's the end. And it's like, okay, that's it. Daft Punk is no more. And all of the fans were like, I don't know how to react. You just dropped this on YouTube out of the middle of the afternoon and we're like, we're done.
And obviously, like, he didn't actually blow up his friend and
No.
put it on
No,
YouTube.
no,
It's
not
fucking,
really.
Like, it's practical effects,
But
but
their whole
he's
shtick was
legit
they were
done.
robots.
that was symbolic to say, it's blown up, it's gone. Like,
Yeah, we're
okay. Interesting.
You know, they were at it for at least 20-something years, right?
Yeah.
True.
So-
I gave, by the way, update on Quet, I gave him a good little tug. Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's
Or,
sticking
yeah,
pretty good.
They're pretty good.
They're good.
He whatever.
They're gender fluid.
They don't know yet.
My idea or IP address or
IP address? My IP address is.
255
I bet you memorized
My
that.
idea,
19.
my IP idea for a movie is Metal Gear. Metal Gear Solid. That'd
Ooh,
be
that would be pretty
amazing.
cool.
You know, they got like a really cool person to play like Snake and shit, and fucking like, God, like the whole movie's basically the first game, him sneaking around and running into like certain bosses and stuff, and then fucking, you know, pretty much the first game is a movie, because that movie or that game is very cinematic and very
Yeah.
well done.
You
It
know,
holds
they-
up somewhat today. I've played it a lot on the PSP.
You know who they should have got to play Solid Snake if they had got him, like, say, 15 years ago, 20 years ago?
Who?
The guy that played in the movie Escape from New York.
Okay, you're kidding,
Escape
right?
from New York? Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Did I name that right?
Yeah, Escape from New York, and what's hilarious about that, 'cause I don't know if you're fucking with me or not,
Let me look this up, verify this.
but you
Thank you.
understand that the guy from Escape from New York was named Snake Plissken. Hideo Kojima
Snake Pliskin?
Pliskin.
Pliskin?
Yeah.
Not Pliskin?
No.
Plisk?
Plisk. Yeah.
Bliss.
Pliskin.
Yeah, Snake Plissken.
Snake Pliskin.
Yeah. Hideo Kojima was a huge fan of Escape from New York.
Oh.
And named his main character Snake after that guy, because Snake was one of the badass fucking like military guy that they had to get in and sneak him underneath into New York, because New York's been taken over by terrorists and stuff, and they have the U.S. president captive, and he needs to go in there. So that's why that game is based on him going in and trying to save the president in the first half of that game.
Shit, that's why they
I
seem
just
so
had a
hard.
thought about my choice.
Mm-hmm.
So when I said the My Chemical Romance rock opera about Black Parade,
Mm-hmm.
I never mentioned who I thought should play the parts.
Right.
I feel like the patient
Right.
should be that you're gonna have to help me with the name. The one actor that I really love, he's in Fantastic Beasts. He plays the Flash. He's in Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Idris Miller.
Yes. I feel like he plays a really good sick character. Like we've seen him play several characters where they're
Idris. Or...
I think it's something along those lines, like Idris or
Yeah.
Edra. But he would be a really good character, I feel like, for the patient. And then looking at like the opposite end, I don't really know who I would choose to play that darker entity. Or
I think a good contrast for that, I think, would be Adam Driver.
I don't have a picture for his face. So
Kylo Ren from
Yeah,
the Star Wars
yeah.
movies.
gotcha. That would be good. That would be
Right?
good.
He would be a good, like, death character. you know?
Yeah, because he kind of looks like him too.
Exactly,
So
right?
it's kind of
And
like a
he's-
mimic.
And he, Idris, or kind of no offense to him, or no offense to him, but he looks kind of frail.
Yeah,
He
no,
looks
like-
a little sickly, right? So he would play the cancer patient very well, and Adam Driver would play the definite buffer, death character. Like, I'm basically you, but stronger, better.
Go play Master Chief. Oh, you know what other game I thought of real quick? Bioshock.
That'd be
Be
cool.
amazing movie.
Okay, that
Big,
is the
good
one
horror
game
movie.
I did finish, and damn, that would be sick.
As a movie.
Yes.
Great horror movie.
Like,
Oh, yeah, you
there's
did
also
talk
like
about
that.
that.
Alternate reality game that I was mentioning like a few podcasts ago.
Yeah.
Where it was like, where they actually like did shit in real time, and like you had to look for shit and go on websites and like follow along and like do weird
Right.
shit and like find clues and solve puzzles in real life to find things like in like it was just weird. That would be cool to like incorporate something like that into a movie. Like maybe not. Okay, maybe this doesn't necessarily count as an intellectual property, but like that whole idea, an alternate reality game, but that concept as a movie would be really, really cool.
I was trying to think of book series as well that I would have liked to see adapted, which I am quite picky. I won't lie to you. When I watch a movie adaptation of a book, I'm constantly like, the book did it better. That's usually the case with most things, obviously. But there's a book series that I read that is more like a teen author, I suppose, but I would love to see any of the Ellen Hopkins books produced into a movie adaptation.
Okay. Which
Because-
specific book is your favorite that you're thinking?
Impulse was amazing. It touches on some, trigger warning, but it touches on suicide and mental health. It bounces between three different
sure this will
characters,
fly.
and they're all in this facility together, basically trying to get healthy. And it bounces between the three perspectives of these teenagers, right? And their struggles and how they. So it kind of tells you how they got to the facility and their struggles while they're at the facility, right? So each chapter is a different character's point of view, and I would really, and she does that in a lot of her books. If there's multiple main characters, she will have a chunk of the book and then switch to another point of view, right? And you'll see the name at the top. And I love her writing. It's very especially, I'm not even gonna lie,
You said that book was Impulse by...
Impulse by Ellen Hopkins.
Okay.
And her other series, Crank, is a 3-part series, and it actually is a true story, kind of it's based on her daughter. So it really gives a good insight on drugs and suicide and mental health stuff. And I like to see that as a movie adaptation.
Okay. You're going with some real shit.
Yeah.
I do have one suggestion.
What's your suggestion?
It's a bit more science fiction, I guess you could say.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Has anybody heard of the book series Keys to the Kingdom?
I have not, no.
I've heard about it through you.
Chris has certainly heard about it through me. Yeah, it's
Not-
an
talked
author
about it a lot.
called Garth Nix. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't read much of his other stuff. He's got this other weird-looking book that was like, I don't know, not 3 times the length of the one that I read.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of an interesting book. It's probably not the best to describe it. You know what? I'll look it up and then.
Brain check on that.
We'll do a book report some other time with that.
As we've established on past podcasts, I really love books. I haven't been reading lately, but those were some of my favorite books in high school, was like, because I liked being able to kind of put myself in those books and see what it was like, kind of like from that perspective, right? And it was very always interesting to me. Anything with mental health, anything with drug abuse, anything with that always intrigued me to read about. So, and all of her stories kind of have a moral or a topic relating to something that a teen might be going through at the time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're pretty intense stories, mind you. Like, they're like the worst of the worst things you could possibly go through as a teenager kind of
Right.
thing. But if you're going through that, they're really almost cathartic, to read. And if you're not going through that, it's an interesting way of putting yourself into the perspective of somebody else, and seeing what they might have been experiencing.
Walk a mile in another
For
person's
sure.
shoes type thing.
No,
All
she's a
this-
fabulous writer.
All this storytelling is making me realize, what we haven't done for a little bit, and we actually are kind of a little bit behind on now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, we gotta do it
This is
soon.
episode 11.
Yeah.
A movie.
Yeah, we
Oh,
gotta do it
true.
real soon.
It's been a bit. We're on episode 11. Isn't there only 4 weeks in a month?
Yeah.
We're supposed to do one a month,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
we're almost on month 3.
Yeah, the next one has to be a movie, I think.
All right, so let's pick a movie.
We have to have a day where we can watch one, too.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah, that's true.
Like tomorrow.
You'll find out on the next episode of... We haven't figured out a segment name for that yet. We'll figure it out.
We do have a movie and idea that's a good, fast one to
We had
watch.
like 17 movie ideas. We've been screaming them out. But you
True.
had that one.
Yeah, it's a quick one to watch. So, A, be quick to watch. We can come down and record right away.
It was
Sleepaway Camp.
Sleepaway Camp. You
Yeah.
have mentioned that like a good 7 times now.
Yeah. I am so excited to watch that with you guys. I cannot wait.
Is it campy?
Oh, it's so
Super
campy.
campy.
It is
It's-
the B-est of movies you could ever freaking want to watch.
It's 80s camp. At
I
its
love it.
finest.
80s camp.
It is my
not just camp.
favorite.
80s camp.
80s.
At least
Do
the
not look
bar
it up
is
at all.
set very middle of the ground.
Ryan hates old movies. It's fine.
I mean,
I
if
can-
it's before 1990, then I have little
No,
patience.
campy
for
horror
it.
is the
just-
best kind of horror, and I am all over it.
Broaden your mind and your taste buds, brother.
Ah,
Older the movie, sweeter the
Comedy,
the
man.
scare.
Yeah.
Stop. Stop.
So, yeah, we got to do that very soon.
Very soon.
You want to follow us on Twitter? We're on Twitter at AlwaysMorePod. So you can check us out there. I always try to keep up to date with letting people know when stuff's going to drop. We interact with a lot of other people. There's like one Twitter we interact with a lot called the Podcast Movement. So if you're into podcasts, you check them out too. Free shout out to them because they're pretty cool.
They always have good suggestions.
Exactly. And we're also on Instagram at Always Room for More Podcast. And our Facebook is...
At always, room for more podcast as well.
Nailed it.
Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe because it's always appreciated. Send us the love.
Yes,
Why
we
not?
could always use
Interact with us. Give us a question we can answer. Or correct us if we're wrong on something. Please.
Well, just answer the question: is space a thing?
Yeah.
And
Is
what is
space
a thing? What
That's it.
defines a thing? That's answer,
That's a good
answer
question.
That question. That's
Yeah,
what
if you-
I want to know. I want to know what other people are thinking about that because, that has been plaguing my mind for years.
For years.
Yeah, look up us on the Facebook and drop us the answers on this episode's Facebook thing on the Facebook page.
You're really on point today,
I'm
aren't you?
smoking some weed and some hash right now, so just give me a break here.
Yeah, no. If you can find us on any of our social medias, you can listen to us on all your favorite podcasting platforms.
If you
So
are listening to our podcast, though, make sure to leave a comment or a review, please, because reviews help us get more listeners.
yeah, Apple Podcasts definitely are a little more tricky, and reviews help us get more views. Ha! So definitely leave one if you can, and YouTube's always a good subscribe or like.
Yeah, that's true. We always like to hear back from them. We talk to people on every platform. We are social people.
Chris and I try to keep up with it. You won't hear much from Ryan or Spinny, but you'll hear from us.
I'm not social people.
Social media is
poison
overwhelming.
to
It needs to. It needs to. I would be happy in the 90s.
See,
with less
it's
internet.
overwhelming to me as well, especially because I have like 5 accounts that I'm trying to manage between my own and the podcast. So it's a lot, but I'm managing, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
And I'm just trying to keep up with my own personal and this one.
He's learning. I'm teaching him as he
I'm
goes.
getting better at it. So, yes, come follow us and we're going to smoke some weed about that.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to
Wait, you got a
float
bowl
and
pack
keep
there?
swimming. I do got a bowl packed.
Sorry, I didn't warn you. I remember
I'm
last time I
prepared.
didn't warn you in time, so make sure I'm getting you this time.
No, thank you. Thank
Everybody
you. I
good to
appreciate
go?
I am.
Well, let's smoke weed about that. Thanks for coming along for the high, because there's always room for more.